Hey, how you doing today? We're going to show you how to do a full Recone service on a Cerwin Vega speaker here today. It's a 15-inch woofer out of an AT-15 cabinet. This is a fairly common model that we see come in for repair and that customers call us on. So we sell a repair kit for this that you can do at home, and we're going to put a video together to kind of guide you to show you how that works. This particular woofer is used in the AT-15. It's also used in a cabinet known as the LS-15. And then we also have a couple of examples today of some other Cerwin Vega woofers that are similar. This woofer is used in a DX9 speaker system. Then we have one here, which is a 12-inch. It's used in the D5, which is a little smaller configuration. Same setup. They're all kind of done the same way. So we just want to show you that. And then here's a 10-inch, which is the smallest version we're carrying here today or showing you. This one comes out of a D3. Again, they're all kind of built the same way. They're just, small, medium, large, and large. So in this case, we'll concentrate today on the AT-15. We want to show you that the new cone kit that comes for these is a new style of a cone. The cone is a smooth cone, as you'll see here, curvilinear, smooth cone. The old cone is a ribbed cone, and these had a tendency to fail, especially down by the dust cap where they're very weak here, where the thin paper kind of starts to fail around the cap due to the pressure created by the cone over time. And of course we have a common problem with the foam edges that deteriorate on these as well. But in this case the coil's damaged, so we're going to do a full recone for you. We're going to install a new cone, new voice coil, and with that we'll get, of course, a new spider, new dust cap. That'll all happen as well. And you'll notice on a lot of these Cerwin Vegas that they kind of come with their own plastic trim gasket. Most of our Recone kits come with new 4-piece gaskets like this that fit the frame. You can use these, or you can reuse the original plastic gaskets. These kind of peel right off like I'm showing you here. Not all of the kits come with this extra gasket, so be sure to check the website for the specifications of the kit that you're ordering. They're listed out by model number, and they will show you what's included with those kits. We do include a shim with the kit as well for the voice coil. We'll show you how that works in a little bit. And then we have a combo kit that you can purchase with the kits that have all the different 4 types of adhesive that are used for the Recone job. We have an epoxy where we attach the coil and spider together under the dust cap. We have a black glue. This is the old style black glue for the lead wire dressing. We're now using the metal style tube, which is a longer lasting product, so we've gone to this. We have our clear glue, which is kind of famous, that we use for surround attachments and for spiders to the frame. We'll show you that as well. And then we have a white glue, which is a general purpose glue that can be used for installing the dust cap to the cone. So we'll kind of go through all this for you. This particular Recone kit is also available with a smaller dust cap, the 3.75-inch dust cap, which is used on the DX9 woofers, like this particular unit here, the REW15, the DCW15, and the VSW15 all use the smaller dust cap. It's essentially the same cone kit, but just a smaller dust cap, and it's an appearance issue. It has nothing to do with the sound at all. It's just for the looks of the speaker. So we'll kind of go over that as well when we're reconing this. We'll take this all apart for you. When we return, we'll show you how to remove the cone, and then we'll kind of clean the magnet structure up and clean the frame, and then we'll get on with doing the Recone job to show you how that works. Okay, so we're back. We're going to go ahead and clean the frame on the AT-15 here for you. The gasket on this I kind of already had peeled off, so we're just going to set that kind of off to the side out of the view of the camera there. And then I like to use a small blade like this for cleaning. You can also use a chisel, really whatever you like. This we've already kind of peeled the surround up here, as you can see, all the way around. So we're just going to start here, and we're going to take the blade right here down by the bottom of the dust cap. We're just going to cut this like this to get this out of the way. And if you have to, you can cut along the top as well to get rid of the old surround. In most cases the surround will be deteriorated, but if you need to peel it off there, go ahead. Get this out of here like this. Okay, this will be tossed in the trash when we're done. And one thing of note on these Cerwin Vegas is they have a logo on the dust cap that lines up typically with the terminal here. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's with a bolt hole. So before we take that out, we like to mark with a Sharpie right where the dust cap goes. So that's what we'll do here, and we see that it's lined up on this. We'll refer to this little mark later when we reinstall the new cap. So we'll just kind of do that and set that away, or off to the side. So with the blade here, we can come in like this. We can kind of draw this towards us, do a quick clean of the frame, Yours may be a little more difficult, yours might be easier, just depends on if it's been repaired in the past and what kind of condition the adhesive is in. So I like to just kind of do this manually by hand. You can also apply a little bit of acetone or lacquer thinner to the frame and let it soak in to kind of help soften the glue. That's not a bad idea for some folks as well. So you kind of do that as you see fit. No hard or fast rules for that. You can see this one's coming up in pretty good condition here for us without too much effort. We'll touch this up later and kind of smooth this out and get this done. We don't want to spend too much time in the video showing you on that, but you get the idea. That's what that looks like. Okay. And then here for the lead wires, we have this. We can either cut those with the blade or take a pair of small snips and just snip those. Leave a little bit attached to the terminal here so you can remove these easier. Here, I'll show you in a minute with the soldering iron. We'll soften those up and we can just kind of pull those out. So for the spider, which is this part here, in the motor assembly, we'll go ahead and come in like this. We'll just cut all the way around the frame. Like this, okay? So that's what you're removing there, all right? And the spider has some sort of a deformity in it somewhere. It's causing it to scrape or be damaged, or it's causing it to rub. So we're changing out everything on this. And what you'll notice on this is we have the pole piece here sticks up a little bit higher than the top plate. And on this particular model, they run the windings right about to the top edge of this pole piece. So what I'll do to show you kind of how that works is what I like to do is we'll just take a little section of this spider out, if you can see that here, like this. We'll create a little window so that we can kind of see, all right, what's going on there. We'll kind of set this back in place. And you can see, I don't know if the camera picks that up or not, but it's about 3/16 of an inch or so of winding height above the top plate, which is about even with the middle of the pole piece. So when we set our new coil in place from the Recone kit, you see how it fits in there perfect, just like that. We'll be setting that up as well at the same height with our shim, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I just want to give you a quick overview of what to be thinking about as you're disassembling for your reassembly going back together. That's very important. Okay, so we'll deal with that here in just a little bit. What I like to do too is once we get this off is we'll put a little bit of masking tape, because we're going to have this magnet gap open for a little while we finish the cleaning work here, and we don't want particles of dirt and debris getting in the magnet. It's kind of attracts metal particles, needless to say. So do something like this to kind of dress it up, all right? And then we'll come in here with the blade again. We'll just kind of come in, give this a quick slice. Just putting pressure down like that all the way around, okay? And that's it, that's what you want right there. And you could take a little bit of, we'll take a little lacquer thinner or acetone or a little rubbing alcohol and just kind of clean this up a little further. This one came out pretty nice, so it's not bad at all. You'll see that we're pretty much ready here. And you'll see we got these two little wires left here, so we'll come over here with our soldering iron. We'll fire this up and let this warm up for a moment. We'll warm this up here and here, and then we'll kind of just pull these out and clean up the little terminal holes for the new wires to go in when we're done there. So that'll take place as well. When we come back, we'll have this all cleaned up and ready. We'll set the voice coil, we'll glue the spider, and then we'll go from there. All right, we're back. So we're gonna go ahead, we finished kind of cleaning the frame, as you can see. Everything's smooth and cleaned down, ready to rock for the new installation of the parts. And one thing we want to look at here that I want to show you is we removed the tape from the magnet gap, and we want to look in the magnet gap closely to make sure there's no debris or anything floating around in there to cause us problems. So I like to use just a small flashlight like this, and we kind of just spin the speaker and hold the flashlight, take a look, and really get a close-up of the gap in there with some bright light, so that you can see if there's any particles, debris, or dirt that need to be removed. In this case, we look pretty good, but just as a precautionary measure, we're still going to run masking tape. I like to just use a business card with the tape sticky side out. Just kind of run this down like that. And you'll see that even with the magnet gap being visually clean, we still get a little bit of debris out of there, and that's just you know, from years of dust collection and movement of the coil in there. Sometimes you get a little bit of friction and it causes a little bit of debris to collect. So we want to clean that out. We'll run this through a couple of times like this. Just spin the speaker. As you can see here, there's a little bit more. So I'm going to run another. Whoop. Sticks on you, just kind of start over. Run it again. Alright, now we're getting better. We're not seeing as much debris on the tape. And that should be pretty good. So we'll go ahead and stop there. Yeah, it looks good. Alright. So we're ready to go. So we have our terminal here, we clean the wires, frame is clean, magnet gap is clean. We checked the bolts earlier, these are tight. You never want to loosen these bolts on these Cerwin Vegas. Never remove these screws on a Cerwin Vega. Some folks will take these screws off thinking that they can somehow fix the speaker because it's frozen or something has happened. As soon as you take these bolts out, the magnet plate shifts and you are done. You've got a problem at that point. It can be recentered, but it's very difficult. So never remove these bolts on a Cerwin Vega speaker, no matter what you might see or read online out there. That's a no-no. All right. Okay, so we've got the speaker frame ready to rock. Here's the shim that comes in the kit, which is just a clear piece of plastic. It's kind of pre-cut for this size of coil, so we'll go ahead and place that in there like this. All right, and you can see you can kind of place it any which way. There'll be a little gap at the end of that, that's fine. First thing I do want to show you though too, I kind of forgot to mention, is we have a couple of different coils that come in the Vega kits. As you can see, they both fit in nicely. All right, in this case, but the gap on this ATW15 woofer is a little bit wider, so it uses the coil called a 6274 DLP. It's a dual layer coil. When you look close, you'll see two sets of windings that are kind of twisted together there. There's extra width on this, there's extra mass in the coil, and that's all per the Vega design that fits this particular frame and several others. Some of them do not use that, they just use the single wire, which is a two-layer coil, same part number, 6274, and these fit like the 122Ws, the 152Ws, and a few others. This will fit this, but it's technically not the right coil. You want the double winding coil, and each of our kits specifies which coil it has, and it's designed for the particular frame. So pay attention to that when you're ordering these kits online. It does make a difference, so you want to be cognizant of that, be aware of that as you're working on these. Another thing that you may see is we may see a coil called a 63004, same exact coil, but it's got a little taller former on it. Sometimes they include those with the Vega kits. It's not a problem, it's just the former sits up a little bit higher. The winding length is the same. The resistance and electrical properties of the coil are the same, so it does not matter. In some cases on the 12-inch speakers with the 6300 coils, you may have to trim the top of the coil former. So we try to avoid that if we can, and that's for the smaller dust caps to fit. So that doesn't really apply in the case of the AT-15, so we don't need to worry about it. We're going to put our coil in place like this with the shim, and then we'll continue on here with the repair. So we'll go ahead and shim that in. We'll put the shim in, turn this so that the lead wires face the terminals here like this. And you remember when we did the cleaning, we kind of cut a section of the spider out to show you where we were at here. And we're about 3/16 or so up, where the windings are even with the top plate of the magnet, which is about 3/16 higher than the outer top plate here. So we're going to be even with the pole piece in the middle, like this, all the way around. As you can see, that's what you want there. I'll go ahead and take these lead wires. I'm holding the coil with one hand so it doesn't move up or down, and putting a little pressure on it. Then I just fold these lead wires inside the former like this, okay? Just like that. Perfection. That's what you need, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and glue our spider. We have our cone that's going to go in here like this after the spider is dry. We'll glue the spider first, and we'll let that set overnight, and then we'll come back tomorrow and finish this up. So we're going to apply in this case we use the 30-35 adhesive. We apply a bead of adhesive here right to the spider landing. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of get it on there in place. Cap on like that. Now, in this case, hold the coil so it doesn't move. Just press that down. Spin the spider to kind of set the level of the spider in this place. You'll see the glue all the way around there kind of press out. And then I like to use like a coffee stirrer stick or something similar like this to kind of spin that, and that gives you an idea there. Hopefully the camera can kind of see that. All right. Now a little bit of action, leftover glue there. Take your small finger and just kind of smooth that in like this. And we are set. The motor is in place. The coil assembly for the motor is in place. We'll let this dry overnight. Tomorrow when we come back, we'll glue this in place for you. We'll show you that. We'll do the gaskets. We'll show you how to solder the lead wires. We'll install the new cap. And we will get this Cerwin Vega AT-15 woofer back up and running. Okay, so we're back. We're going to go ahead and install the cone for you. The spider is dried to the frame. We're going to install the cone assembly into the ATW15 woofer like this. I'll kind of lift that up so the camera can see it. And we'll use the two-part epoxy that we sell in our combo Recone kits for that. And what I'll do is we'll go ahead and just kind of open this up here and I'll show you how this works. Epoxy comes with two mixing nozzles. Just kind of peel those off of there like this, and we'll set those aside. There's a little cap that you can put on there later to keep it stored properly so that you can reuse it again if needed. So we'll set that off to the side. And you'll notice there's a little cap right here that you kind of snap off. Pull the plunger back slightly to kind of take any pressure off of the epoxy resins that are inside the two tubes here. And we just kind of snap this back like that. Make sure that your tab stays on there straight like this. You throw that part away. It comes with a little mixing nozzle that you just place on here. Well, sometimes they're kind of stuck there. Let me try the other one here for you. There we go. So you just kind of press that in place, give it a 90-degree turn until it clicks like this, and you're good to go. So we'll go ahead and we'll start to squeeze this a little bit. And you'll see that it kind of starts to work down through the tube here. There we go. Right like that, and as it moves through the tube it mixes right in the nozzle for you, which makes it real handy to use. So we'll go ahead and just give it a little bit of pressure. I'm going to spin the speaker like this. We'll apply a bead right along the spider, the neck of the spider where it meets the coil. Okay, now I've stopped squeezing and I'm just letting the weight of the tip spread the epoxy. Okay, so take a look at that. That's what you want right there. Your cone is in place here. Before we install it or insert it into the frame, we'll go ahead and just kind of manually poke a couple of holes through here for the lead wires. That's for the two lead wires that come out to the terminal later. So we place them up about 3/4 of an inch and separated by 3/4 of an inch right on the cone, just like this. And just use an ice pick or something small screwdriver, something that can kind of poke through there, as you'll see there. So we'll turn this so the two holes in the cone match the two terminals on the back side here like this, and you'll see that that kind of sits and beds down in that epoxy nicely. And I like to go ahead and apply another bead right on the top all the way around here. Again, squeeze, turn the speaker, gently and evenly squeeze the back of the plunger. Alright, pull that back out. And then I like to kind of give the cone a spin to kind of seat the epoxy there, and this will dry up in about 10 to 15 minutes or so. We'll let this sit for about a half an hour. We'll come back and we'll show you how to solder and dress the lead wires, and then we'll finish up with the frame and the gasket and the dust cap and show you how to complete the repair. And make sure again that you line those two eyelets up with the two terminals right on the frame here like this, and as long as you pay attention to that, you will be good to go. Alright, the epoxy is dried up all the way around the voice coil. You can kind of see it here. Kind of test it with something sharp just to give it a little poke to make sure that it's firmed up there for us, and it looks good. So we can proceed with the rest of the repair on this Cerwin Vega here. I don't know if you can really see it on the camera there, but you'll see the epoxy kind of also has a nice little bed evenly all the way around the backside where it meets the neck of the cone, and that's kind of what you want there. You want it to look clean and even all the way around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to show you how to do these lead wires. And earlier when we put the shim inside the voice coil, we kind of folded the lead wires over. We'll just kind of pull those out and get those prepped out like this. And then the kit comes with a 1-foot section of lead wire. So I just fold that over like this. I'll cut that in half right here. So I have two 6-inch pieces of lead, just like this. And the way I like to do them is I like to come in with one hand and just hold this, and then I'll fold the lead wire over. I know it's going to be kind of hard to see with the camera there, but we'll try to zoom in and get it the best that we can. We'll get one kind of fold over there, then I just kind of give it a couple of turns like this, so that we get 2 or 3 nice tight wraps there with the lead wire, and we'll do both of them the same, just like this. You can also do this type of repair with a kit that we sell that's just a lead wire kit that comes with a foot of lead wire and the black dressing glue. So if you ever need that, we do sell that on the website. Alright, so if you take a look here, we've got 2 to 3 wraps on each one of these. And we'll come in here now with the soldering iron. I keep the tip on my iron around 7 to 750. That seems to work well for most applications. We'll come in, we'll put a little bit of heat on here like this. And we'll just let the solder kind of come in. A little bit of sponge on there. Let's clean that off with a wet sponge. And the solder will flow in real pretty, just like this, okay? Let the heat kind of do the work for you there. That's exactly how you want it. Alright. So now we have the 2 wires soldered correctly there. They are hot. And then I'll take a pair of snips. We'll just kind of trim off the excess here. Just like that, all right? And we have the 2 holes that we made in place here, so we kind of take one hand, go under the cone, right through the eyelet hole here. Kind of fish this through, all right? We'll do the other one the same way. Okay. I'm just kind of grabbing it with my fingers underneath the cone there where you can't see. It's kind of out of camera view. Now at this point, you've got the lead wires through the cones, but we want to kind of clean them up and lay them down flat. So I'll use a pair of pliers and just kind of press this down like this here, if the camera can see that angle. I kind of like to give it a little curve all the way around like this with the eyelet or the soldering right outside of the kind of eye hole here that we made on each side of the cone. So we'll do both sides of this the same way. Just use the pliers as a tool. Kind of press that down, all right? And just let the joint that you created rest right on top of that area. Okay, and that's what you want right there. So what I'll do now is we'll dress that area with the 3087 adhesive. Just a little bead here. I like to start right around and just do kind of a wrap around and then run a little bead right down the cone. Don't go too heavy with it, because you don't want it running down inside the shim. Okay, so let's do a little bit more there. You want to coat the wire all the way completely. Alright, like this. And we'll kind of let this dry up for a few hours. Once that dries, it kind of shrinks and tightens the wire down to the cone, and that holds the joint securely there. So again, try to make it as pretty as you can. We're kind of doing it in a hurry for the video here, but you get the idea. And once this cures, we'll come back, we'll glue the surround to the frame, we'll install the gasket, we'll remove the shim and install the dust cap to show you the finished product there, and then we'll test the speaker. Alright, we're back, and we let the black adhesive dry up on the lead wires for a few hours there and got that done. So that's what you want it to look like there, and at this point we can go ahead and set up the lead wire soldering through the terminals here, like so. I'll try to kind of hold this up to show you what that looks like when I solder, but for just a second I'm going to turn it around like this, and I'll fish the wires just through each eyelet on the terminals here, one at a time. And when we get this part done, see what we've got here. Just straight through like this. And I like to just give them a little push up just like this. You can kind of twist them a little bit to get them to shape out the way you like. You can play with that for a minute. Matter of fact, let me just flip this around here so I can get this a little bit better. There we go. Use your fingers, just kind of pull it up. You want to leave about a ½ inch or so of height to 5/8 of slack. Not so much that they're hitting the cone, not so much that they'll hit or touch each other, but that's about what you want right there, okay? So I like to put a little weight or something there to kind of prop this up. That's just to show you what we're doing there, and then we'll go ahead and get these soldered. Let the soldering iron do the work for you. I set the temperature around 750. Kind of run in there like that. Okay, and let that flow. Okay, good. Do the other one. There it is. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And we just use a 60-40 rosin core solder, nothing fancy, and it works great for speaker repair. It's all you need. Okay, so we've got that. It's pretty much done. So we'll snip off the excess here like this. Just come in here with your nips. Okay, so that's the look you're after right there. Just throw the extras right in the trash. You don't need that. And now we'll go ahead and attach the surround to the frame all the way around, and then we'll replace the gasket. We'll show you how that works. Here we have the original gasket that came with the woofer. In some cases we'll see these and the gaskets are missing or have been damaged, and the kit includes a 4-piece gasket that kind of looks like this. And just to give you kind of an idea of how those work, is we would glue those in place one section at a time. Just like that. Okay, kind of gives you an idea of the look. But if you have the original gasket, we prefer to use it. It keeps the look of the speaker more intact. So in this case, that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and apply a bead of adhesive right here, just like this. A little bit of pressure from the tube, from the back or to the middle of the tube. So you just kind of hold the speaker, spin it with one hand. One time around is all you need. Cap the glue, and just the pressure of the surround on top of the adhesive is sufficient to kind of spread the glue there. Just using my little finger here to kind of give it a little bit of help. Okay. And that's pretty much it for that. You'll remember earlier in the video we put a little mark here, and on this particular woofer that's the alignment for the dust cap. It kind of lines up with that mark, which in this case is right next to the terminals here. And when the speaker's mounted in the cabinet, there's 8 holes in this frame, but in this particular model they only use 4 of the screws when mounting, so you want to pay special attention to how that goes back in. In this case, on the Cerwin Vegas, the terminal kind of runs straight down, and then we'll have the gasket kind of like this, where the logo will be straight up and down once it's mounted in the cabinet. Okay, so I'll show you that here. What we'll do is we're planning for the dust cap to go in like this, and then the holes are in this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, there's a little nub on the gasket that you can use as an alignment, and it goes into one of these holes like this. So since we know we need 1, 2, 3, 4, you can choose this in any configuration you like. All right, so what I'll do here is there's a little bit of adhesive pressed out from this. I'm going to apply another bead of adhesive right to the gasket itself. There's a little ridge right in the middle of the gasket, so we'll go ahead and kind of apply a little bit of glue right on that area there. You can also wait for it to the surround to dry and do it on the frame, but to save time we're just going to give you kind of the fast demonstration here. Apply a little bit of bead right on this. Doesn't take much, just right on this center ridge is fine. Okay, cap off the glue. Okay, we'll flip the speaker or the gasket back over, and I just got to look at this here for 1 second. There we go. All right, so that's how that's going to be. Okay, so just kind of hold the gasket before you flip the speaker over. Use the speaker as a weight to kind of hold everything in place. We've got glue everywhere on this now, so we'll just kind of do a flip like this. And we'll let this sit up for an hour or so and come back. We can do the dust cap installation, and this speaker will be ready to place back into the cabinet for service. All right, we've let this dry up for an hour or so. We're going to go ahead and flip her over, and in this particular setup here, we're pretty good. We're going to remove the shim, and then we're going to install the dust cap. We'll show you how that works. We'll let that dry up, and then we'll test her out, and she'll be good to go. So in this case, just kind of peel this out of here like this. That's what you have there, and you can see kind of the finished product there. Everything moves freely. Coils fit perfectly. We use these USA made coils, and these are really good coils. They're pretty much better than anything else out there in the market that you're going to find. Definitely equivalent or even better than what Vega was using originally. We find never had any failures on these. They work great, they hold up, and they sound awesome. So in any case, here we go. We've got the dust cap. Remember, we made the mark here to show you where that goes. What I like to do is I like to take a little piece of masking tape like this and make a little handle for the dust cap. Just kind of peel that off there. Make a little handle like this. It makes it a little easier to hold and kind of position the cap like this, okay? So this is generally the idea. We're going to go ahead and use our white adhesive, the MI1291 adhesive for this. So we'll go ahead and get this opened up. We'll apply a little bead to the lip of the dust cap. We'll put a weight on the top of it and let that sit. Usually I let them sit overnight just to be safe, but if you give it a few hours until the glue dries clear, you'll be good. Poke a little hole in the glue cap like that there, and then I'll just kind of move the speaker out of the way and show you the application here. We'll just go ahead and apply the glue right to the edge of the cap as evenly as you can. Just kind of hold your elbows in tight. Makes it a little easier to keep your hand steady for the application of the glue. Okay? Alright, there we go. And we're going to line that little part of the Vega logo up right there with the black mark that we made on the frame. And I'm kind of doing this backwards, so I'll do the best I can here for the camera to show you. So we'll kind of set this in place like this. A little spin. The glue dries clear. If you get a little bit of extra there, you can just kind of give it a little wipe. Okay. And I'm going to check my alignment here with that. It looks pretty good. So when it's mounted in the cabinet, the way that the screws are on this, you'll see the logos lined up properly here with the alignment mark that we made. Set a weight on there like that. I kind of like to do that. You can give it a little spin. Just make sure that everything is set in place. If you move the cone, it kind of helps set the adhesive. Alright. So that's what you want. We'll let that set up for a few hours, and we'll come back, we'll test her out, and we'll be able to put it back in the cabinet, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so the dust caps had plenty of time to dry here. You'll see what this looks like. We had the weight on there while it sat for several hours until that was ready to go. The glue dries clear all the way around, and that's what you want right there. We got a Vega, the Vega logo lined up with the terminal or the spot on the frame, so that when it's mounted in the cabinet, it's everything is straight and looks good. The last thing we'll do is we'll take a look at the back of this where the connections are and make sure we have a positive and negative marked. You see the little red dot there? That is the positive. Sometimes that's faded or kind of hard to see. I like to kind of add a little marker here before installing it back into the cabinet so we can see what we've got. It makes it a little bit easier to view. Alright, and then just as a final kind of thing, we'll do a quick hookup with our signal generator here. We have a small power amplifier over here, a receiver, an old Pioneer that we use. It works great. And then we just have a function generator connected to that. So we kind of leave this set on frequency here. It's about 25 hertz. And we'll just kind of sweep a set of frequencies through this to make sure everything sounds good. Okay, and that's what you want. This speaker is done and ready to go back into the cabinet. We'll go ahead and get it reinstalled, and we'll be good to go.